Hey everybody, I am here to film our October homeschool update. I feel like this might be a bit boring because I feel like I don't have a ton to show you. But I don't know, I feel like for continuity's sake I should do this update even though like there's not a lot major that happened, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start with our group work. Let's see, I won't talk about everything, but we did finish Game Logic in October, and this was a lot of fun. The kids really liked it. We did a lot of activities. We played a lot of games. They had kept game notebooks. One of the activities that they specifically liked was they had to, where is it? They had to write down like, I don't know, 5 different like topics, like themes for a board game. Oh, here we go. And then they had to write down, I guess it was 6. And then 6 different like types of games and 6 different components to games. And then they rolled the die and created their game that way. And so that was a really fun activity. And then they did end it with making their own game. So my son made elemental math. If you don't know, he is very, very into both science and math, but very into the periodic table and chemistry. So I don't know where his directions are, but he has a periodic table that color coordinates with these different little element cards. And then there's dice, and I forget exactly how you play, but essentially you're trying to, the first person to get 5 of one type of element card wins, and you try to get, you get the element number. That's how you get it. And so you can roll 3 dice, and you can add, multiply, subtract, or divide to get your number. So that was his game, and he handmade all of these little element cards. So I think that's really fun. And he put it in this little box and made the artwork for the box, game box. And then my daughter did, this is called Card Baseball, a 2-player card game, and I have not played hers. Let's see. She wrote out directions for hers. And then hers uses baseball cards and dice. So anyway, they had a lot of fun. They were really creative with it. And I really like stuff like this. It really helps with like brainstorming ideas, problem solving, like all that kind of stuff. So that was good. I'm glad we did Game Logic. That was a win. Let's see. We have our Thriving with ADHD workbook. We did not do these as consistently as I wanted. And I mentioned in a video, I don't remember which one, that we were doing these in our morning group work, even though my kids were at different spots in the book. And that wasn't the best place to do it. So my daughter has actually finished hers. And I have another one. I think it's the executive function one to move on to for her. I don't know where I'm going to put that yet, but, and my son's still working with his. I have found a different place in our schedule for it, which I'm sure I will talk about in my November update, because that's where we're going to start implementing it, but that's going fine. Building language is going fine. I think we just do this on Fridays, and I think we only have, let's see, I don't want to open it up because it has my email address on the top of every page, but I know I'm planning December, and I think that we have, after November, we'll still have, we'll have 3 lessons left for December. So anyway, it's going well. They don't particularly love it, but I like it, so that's all that matters, right? As far as read-alouds, what did we plan for October? Big ideas. We are behind in this. We're behind in something. But that's not my fault because my husband does this and that's on him. I can't be in charge of everything or I'm going to lose my mind. So that's on him, but they are behind. They're still doing it, but they're not where I had all the markers. We're also behind in this, and this is on me. I've made several videos about my daughter's kind of stuff this month and just scheduling changes that we had to make in October. And I really wanted to get through the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. The kids actually really love this, but I put a roadblock in my way at the beginning of the month. And I thought that this would be a great way to teach them some vocabulary they didn't know. I feel like this uses words that they're not as familiar with. And so I put off starting it because I wanted to create this whole vocabulary scavenger hunt that they could work through as I read each chapter. And so that took me a while to kind of wrap my brain around and create. So we started late. Then we tried it and it failed. It didn't work. Anyway, so we are not doing that now. We are just listening to the audio of this, but we're behind. But we are going to finish it up by the end of the first week in November and move on to our November stuff. So we're not going to drop it. We're just finishing it late, but it is what it is. We're going to get through it. Let's see. What else for group work? We're still doing our big ideas. On Fridays, we do this big ideas for curious minds. And then one day during the week, I added in journaling with this on Fridays now. So after we read a big idea and we read about the person, they have a journal that they then kind of reflect on what we read about, make a connection to their own lives, whatever. But I didn't start that until many weeks into the school year. So one day a week, we've been going back and reviewing one of the ideas, and they write in their journal. We do that in the morning during our group time, like during the week. And so then once we're caught up, we'll switch to journaling about something else. But at any rate, that is that. We did not read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow as I wanted. That was due back at the library. And we just never got to it. So we did not do that. We can put a big, we failed that. We did not do that. All right. Our Edgar Allan Poe and Raven poetry study went well. The only thing, there's two things we did not do. We started reading this What is Poetry book, and we just didn't have the time for it. And my son liked it, my daughter not so much. And I just nixed it because it wasn't, I think it's good, but I didn't think it was necessary for us to complete this unit study. And it was just a roadblock in our way, so I took it out. We did everything else except the escape room. I had purchased a escape, you can't even see that, an escape room from Teachers Pay Teachers. We did not do that. We did everything else. We read Who Was Edgar Allan Poe? We read The Raven. We did not read The Haunted Palace. That was my extra. But we read The Raven from the illustrated Edgar Allan Poe. We did a couple pages from the Mint and Bloom unit. As you may remember, I didn't love that one. We read all the other books that I had shared. I think I shared about this in my October plans video. We did a little drawing tutorial on how to draw a raven when we were learning about the difference between ravens and crows. We talked about kind of the raven in Native American stories and artwork, and we did a little, there was a YouTube video on how to do this raven, so we did that. And then we had a bunch of different little worksheets and things like that, which you probably don't really need to see. I didn't pull them out to show, but pretty much all of the little things I got from Teachers Pay Teachers that I shared in my October planning video, we did those. So yeah, that was everything there. That went well. Let's see. And then for creative writing picture book study, my kids loved Stregonona. They loved Tommy DePaulo. That all went really well. The monsters they loved. I brought in a whole bunch of monster picture books that we did for the second half of the month. They really liked that. We didn't need the extra one that I had planned, so that was that. Oh, creative form drawing. We are still doing this, but I think we started this in October, and this is going really well. We will finish this book. We're not super far. I think, yeah, this week we finished through page 47. So my kids didn't like it at the beginning, but now they really do. And I have us using oil pastels, which they were not a huge fan of, but they like them better now. So anyway, we just, do this while we are listening to our read aloud. So I don't know. That's that. That's my son's book right there. So anyway, going well. We'll continue it. All right. I think that's all the group work stuff I have to talk about. Let me look at my notes here. Oh, we finished our election study. Hallelujah. I felt like we've been doing it forever, and it was so nice to be done with it. In October, we had done, I think, the first 4 Mint and Bloom units. In October, we did the 5th one, and we finished up the unit study that I had planned. And we had already finished Great Debates, I think, in September maybe. But we did do some artwork from the Great Debates, which I shared that in my review of the Great Debates, so you can look there. We also did some just other election art. Let me see if I can find it. We painted some Converse high tops in honor of Kamala Harris. So we did those. I did one too. Okay, so yeah, that was mine. So yeah, we did that. And then we also did, as part of the election study that I had planned, one of the, I think it was the unit, like the Heart of a President. They each picked a president, and they made these little posters, and they had to just label different parts of the posters with information about that president. So they did that as well. All right, so I think that was everything that I'm going to talk about for our group subjects. For my son, my 4th grader, let's see. He did, for cooking, he worked his way through this pack from, words are so hard today, from Radish Kids. Whew. Except for this one, because Walmart does not carry ladyfingers, and they do not carry mascarpone cheese. And I just could not find it in myself to get to a different grocery store. So we're still gonna do this one. Maybe we'll do it for the holidays or something. He did the meatballs al pomodoro. He did the focaccia bread twice. And then in his Hearth and Story literature, there was a cookie recipe, so he did that one week, and I think that was it. I don't remember, but that's all going fine. He finished Gregor the Overlander, which he absolutely loved. It was, I think I shared in one of my videos, I don't remember which one, that I was, in the beginning of that book, he and I were reading it together. He would read a page, I would read a page, back and forth. Just because reading novels is not his favorite thing, and I really wanted to have that time with him, make sure he was fully reading it, talk about any words he might not know, help him really answer the questions and all of that. But by the end, he was reading it independently, and I know that he got really into it. So I didn't feel like I had to be there to motivate him. He was very into it himself, so that was fantastic. He finished writing and rhetoric. So we have moved on now to, I shared a video on it, the IEW, I think People and Places in Our Community. So we've moved on to that. And he's still doing his visual arts from Harbor and Sprout. Oh, I showed this in our grade debates video. Let me see what art he has done. He wrote a poem, which was really fun. I don't know. Okay, and then one week was all about, I think, sculpture, and so he made this cat sculpture, and here, you can take it back, buddy. He made this cat sculpture and painted it, and I think it turned out really, really cool. So art is going well, he enjoys it. We finally hit our groove with dimensions. We had one chapter that was kind of a struggle, and it slowed us down, and it was feeling like it was taking us forever to get through the lessons every day, and I was pretty worried about that. But it was really just that chapter, and it wasn't even the whole chapter. It was let me see, it was the word problems within that chapter. I think it was the division chapter. So we moved on from it, and we just are coming back and working on the word problems periodically as we're doing other things. Yeah, it was the word problems in the division chapter that use bar models. And some of them were fine, but when you got into the more challenging ones, he was struggling a little bit. But anyway, now that we've moved on from that, things are going pretty fast. And like the past couple days, sometimes I'll, when he gets to the workbook, I will circle that he only has to do like, you know, like a certain amount, like pick 1, pick 4, whatever. But for the most part, he's been just doing all of them, with the exception of they go over what's covered in this basics section of the workbook really well in the video lesson. And so like the same stuff. So if he understood it, I don't make him do the basics in the workbook. He just does the practice parts. So anyway, but it's been going fine. And again, we really still like the video lessons for that. His Curiosity Chronicles, Science Mom, Fix It Grammar, Health, Social Studies, all that. I'm not going to show you. It's going fine. No problems with that. Vocab, same thing. His cursive, he actually will finish that in November. I think that's pretty much everything. His Friday notebook was fine. Yeah, I don't think any changes since I last reported on that. So anyway, that's my 4th grader. My 7th grader, I already made, I think, a couple videos on things that we tweaked. We tweaked her schedule and some other things. I'll link those videos. I won't go through them all right now because they already have their own videos. But basically, we made it so that she's not doing structure and style and lightning literature in the same week. So yeah. Math with Confidence is still going well. Science Mom's still going well. Learning how to learn. Let's see. This is still going well, but one of the tweaks that I made in her schedule, we used to do this 2 days a week. One week we would read the chapter, or one day during the week we would read the chapter, and the next day she would watch some videos on it and answer the questions that are at the back of the chapter. But since we just do this 1 day a week now, on the one day we read the chapter, she watches the videos, and then in her Friday notebook, I made a copy of the questions at the back of the chapter. Here's an example. I just print out this race strategy in case if the question lends itself to being answered that way, and then the questions here, and then she just answers them on the paper as part of her Friday notebook. And the race strategy in general is going well. We continued, again, I made a video about this, but we continue to practice this strategy and just work through the different activity pages that they have in the unit that we bought. All right. She finished her Zoe Washington book as part of her Friday work. So she's done with that. She finished The Hobbit. I will tell you, I said in a video that I was really not looking forward to reading The Hobbit, and I did not read The Hobbit. I started reading The Hobbit with her, but once I felt like she had a good handle on it, I kind of backed out of that. I have zero interest in that book. And my brain power was needed elsewhere, let's just say that. Vocab, again, I think I made a video about this. What we're doing, we're only doing 2 words a week in this style using the Frayer model. And we're taking the words directly from her history. And that seems to be working well. So we just do one of these for the word. She writes the sentence in history that it came from. She writes her own sentence, and we kind of do this together, define it, list characteristics, examples, non-examples, etc. So that's going fine. We're just doing 2 words a week in it. Sewing has not been going great just because as we really struggled to get her schedule more manageable, there were days where there was just too much. And so that was the thing that we just cut at the end of the day because it's the lowest on the priority list. So hopefully in November we'll get kind of back into that. Art, she finished the comic arts book that she was doing from Thistles and Biscuits. She's moved on to something else now, but she did like I had her do like a final project where she made her own comic book at the end based on some of the things that she learned. Actually, I think she still has to go through and do this in ink. She doesn't like to work in pencil, but I made her do it in pencil so that she'd slow down and take her time, but she'll probably go over it in ink. But anyway, so she did do that and finished that art unit. And Latin's going great as well. She does that independently. And I think that's it. So yeah, overall the month was okay. I think I mentioned in other videos, we really struggled with our group work schedule in the mornings. We don't tend to do a ton of group work during the week. We try to save most of it for Fridays, but I was just putting in way too much stuff. So that created an issue in October, but we worked through that. We worked through my daughter's schedule, and yeah, so October was a little bit of a struggle. We got behind in a couple of things, but overall, in comparison to how previous years have gone, it's not bad. And we're kind of turning it around in November. So that is my October homeschool update. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below.